Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. You're absolutely right. This is a very, very serious hearing, but I think we need to be very careful and be reminded that we've got 110 million Americans, our constituents. You say they could use cash at Target. A lot of them don't have cash because they don't have jobs. Give me a break. It's good to be here this morning. Today is the 22nd hearing our committee has held on the Affordable Care Act. 22. We've spent more time on this one issue over the past 3 years than any other topic. And Mr. Chairman, I agree. We want to get this right. This is so very, very important. The consequences of what we do affect all of our constituents. And there are people watching us right now who are suffering from dreadful diseases, who are praying and hoping that we get it right. And I am determined to work hard with you to make sure that happens. But I'm concerned about them, but I'm also concerned about this 110 million of our constituents who have been placed in a vulnerable position with regard to their Target credit cards. And I'm going to go further on that a little bit later. So where are we today? The law that went into full effect, full effect, on January 1st, and now millions of people are getting health insurance they did not have before. They're receiving critical medical care. They have the security of knowing they will not be bankrupt if they get into an accident or get sick. But there's something more important, just as important as all of that. Even under those circumstances, they are allowed to live in dignity. Dignity. That's what our nation is all about, lifting up each other so that we all live in dignity. And so this is a phenomenal accomplishment. The law also put into place key protections for consumers. And I'm so glad it did. I'm so glad. Insurance companies are now prohibited from discriminating against people with cancer, our constituents, diabetes and other pre-existing conditions, our constituents, both Republican and Democrat, both rural and urban. Insurance companies may not charge higher prices for women, and millions of people are now receiving free preventative care. That is so important. It is cheaper to keep somebody well than to treat them after they're sick. There are also huge financial benefits. Health insurance companies are now sending rebate checks to millions of people. Since the law was passed, we have seen the lowest growth in health care costs in 50 years. If we repealed the law today, it would increase our deficit by more than $1.5 trillion. Despite all of these positive results, Republicans are still obsessed with killing this law. After more than 40 votes in the House, they shut down the government in an unsuccessful attempt to defund the law. Now they've shifted to a new tactic. Oh, this is brand new, hot off the press. Scaring people away from Healthcare.gov website. Everyone agrees that initially the website's performance was seriously flawed. Our committee has a legitimate interest in investigating contractor performance and agency oversight. And we have held multiple hearings on this topic already. But let me pause here for a moment. And I'm just reminded of what Emerson said, a favorite quote of Mandela. He said, do not be in fear and fail to act because of your fears and your problems, but be led by your hopes and your dreams. And this is about the hopes and the dreams of Americans to stay well, to make sure that their children are well, to make sure that if they get sick, they don't have to go into bankruptcy. That's what this is all about, and that's why you're right, Mr. Chairman. This hearing is serious because it has consequences. In terms of security of the website, however, it is important to highlight all of the facts instead of cherry-picking, I said it, cherry-picking partial information to promote a political narrative that is inaccurate. Based on the documents we have reviewed, and that, when I say we, I mean Republicans and Democrats, and the interviews we've conducted, I believe we can establish several key facts. Number one, although some employees expressed concerns with security testing before this website was launched, the agency addressed these risks by implementing a strong mitigation plan as part of the Authority to Operate memo that was issued on September 27th. Second, since that time, the agency has complied successfully with the mitigation plan. The agency has now compelled full end-to-end security testing of the system, and it addressed specific issues that arose in a timely manner. Third, witnesses interviewed by the committee have praised the current level of security testing. They have described multiple layers of ongoing, robust protection that meet and in some cases exceed federal standards. As Ms. Fryer put it during her interview, the agency is using, and these are your words, Ms. Fryer, correct me if I'm wrong. Ms. Fryer said, she's one of our witnesses, she said that the agency is using, quote, best practices, Mr. Chairman, above and beyond that which is usually recommended, end of quote. So, Ms. Fryer, I hope you clear that up. Make it clear to us where you stand. Finally, most importantly, to date, there have been no successful attacks on Healthcare.gov by domestic hackers, foreign entities, or others who seek to harm our national security. Nobody's personal information has been maliciously hacked. Now, we need to be careful. Obviously, this could change given the increasing frequency and sophistication of attacks against all federal IT systems. But the evidence obtained by our committee, and when I say our committee, I mean Republicans and Democrats, indicates that the security of Healthcare.gov is strong and it keeps getting stronger. In very stark contrast, up to 110 million Americans were subjected to one of the most massive information technology breaches in history when their credit, debit, and other personal information was compromised at Target stores and online in November and December. Mr. Chairman, I sent you a letter on Tuesday requesting a hearing on the Target breach. And I understand you've agreed to have our staffs meet on this issue next week, and I thank you for that. If our committee can hold dozens of hearings on the Affordable Care Act and on Healthcare.gov, which has not been successfully attacked to date, surely we can hold at least one hearing at the earliest possible date on the massive Target breach that affected more than 100 million of our constituents. As I close, I want to close by thanking Dr. Suresh. You've been pulling double duty, providing multiple classified briefings to Congress in addition to your day job. We thank you. Ms. Fryer, your name has been thrown around on the House floor when I'm sure you've heard about it, but you have your opportunity today to clarify what it is, whatever it is you have to say. And Mr. Bateman, after finishing a day-long interview less than 36 hours ago, you were handed a letter inviting you to testify here today, and we thank you. I want you all to know that we appreciate everything you and your staffs are doing to remain vigilant and constantly monitor the security of the website. Millions of American families, thank you for helping them. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I thank you and I yield back.